Hello, this is number 7 on our series on Santeria. It's becoming rather well known and widespread. At first located in certain Caribbean islands, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and so on, and it spread, and it has become very large, probably numbering well in excess of 100 million people. But it flies under the radar because it is, not exactly something that everybody wants to have known, because it's identified with things that there are somewhat unsavory. The sacrifices of animals, the intention of using magic to influence people. We have a tendency to shy away from that because of the idea that, well, wait a minute, these entities are being worked upon. They're being coerced and forced and having things placed on them. So it has an unsavory context, and there are the apologists now who come forth with an effort to kind of clean it up. But my effort is to expose it, to expose the dangers of Santeria. So we're going to look at the ebbo and the offerings and the sacrifices, and we're going to look at the bata and the tambor. That will be all for this particular segment. So the santero or the santera, these are the men and women who are the priests, who have undergone certain extensive, complicated initiation ceremonies. And so they are the ones who do the ebbo, the offerings. They consult with the Seychelles, the Orishas, to determine what kind of sacrifice will be called for, but it's a raw power, almost like a dangerous power. Now, if you were going to have this done, this costs money. It's called the derecho, D-E-R-E-C-H-O, the derecho. And by the time, if you get involved in the life of this, it can become fairly expensive because of all the things that you have to buy. Frequently being visiting the botanica or the botanica, I don't know which is the correct pronunciation, but it can be rather expensive. Now, there are basically 3 kinds of animal sacrifices, 3 kinds of them. The first is the ritual cleansing. The santero rubs an animal that has been determined by the Orisha as the appropriate animal to be rubbed over the body of the distressed client. Somebody comes and says, well, I'm hurting here or there or however, and it is determined by the Seychelles what is the remedy. And so it is the kind of contact magic, I suppose, where the animal is rubbed over and absorbs the bad energy, the evil nature of whatever it is that's distressing the client, thus taking away the source of the trouble. Now, after the sacrifice, the animal's body must be disposed of. It can't be eaten, of course, because it's absorbed all of that bad stuff. Now, the second kind of offering is one to the egun, or the holy dead, to the egun or the Orishas. Some of these animals that are used here may be eaten, but some not. Now, here's where the animal would be sacrificed. The third kind of offering are the asiento or asiento, or the initiation kind of offerings, where the blood of the sacrificed animal is offered to the saints, poured out at some particular place that is supposed to be inhabited by the Orisha. And so it involves the pouring out of the animal's blood that was held in a copper vessel after the animal was killed, throat slit mostly. And the animal is always eaten afterwards because it is believed that the Orisha's ashi or power was actually in that animal. Now, I'm going to talk about the drumming ceremony, the called the tambor, the bata, B-A-T-A-A. These are drums that are used to sound very unusual rhythms known as a conversation. Interesting. And I understand and I've seen videos, and the drumming is quite complex. I mean, more complex than I can even pick it out. But it's seemingly quite accomplished musicians, several different kinds of drums, and they are beat together and in unusual ways, and are said to be able to move a person into an altered state of conscience, into a trance-like state. So, and the drums that are played at the Fiestas de Santo, which are parties that are given in the honor of the Orishas. Now, the party is known as a tambor, T-A-M-B-O-R, which is Spanish for drum. So the drum is thought, and the drumming is thought to speak with a voice that is peculiar to itself. Each drum has like a pea in it. I can't remember the name of the pea of the seed of a plant associated with it, and they're considered almost to be alive, magical. The drums become magical in a sense, and the message drummed out are to be the voices of spiritual entities of great power. The other thing that the drummers attempt to drum out are insulting statements aimed at the Orishas. The idea is, I'm going to insult the Orisha, that therefore the Orisha will come down here, and the result will be that they'll be present. They'll be here in order to possess the dancers. You got the drums, you got the rhythm, you also got the dancers. I've seen this on video. And what happens is, the dancers, you hear the drums, and you see the dancers, and all of a sudden the dancers take on a wholly different appearance. Very grotesque, strange bodily movements. And it's at that point that they are said to be possessed by these Orishas who have been insulted by the drumming, and come and possess the people and do incredible feats of strength. I mean, small people lifting up large people, throwing them over their head, all kinds of strange things, and which is very typical of kinds of things in demonic exercises. So the possessions, they serve as direct evidence of contact with supernatural powers and are very convincing to onlookers. In the tambor, when animals are sacrificed, this is very peculiar here, it almost requires an adult audience. When animals are sacrificed, the santeros will drink the blood of the sacrificial animal as it comes spurting out. That's grotesque, but this is what actually takes place. But then they will excuse that by saying it's not the santero or Santera who is actually drinking it, but because the Orisa is possessing the Santero or Santera, it is actually the Orisha who is being fed by the blood of the sacrificial animal, and therefore, you're looking into the power. So they're actually being fed by the blood. By the way, and before I end this segment, let it be noted that Santeria is evangelized, and one of its means of evangelizing are drummings, mostly in men's groups. And this is how I came into this whole thing originally, because a young man was eventually evangelized by practices of Santeria at an Eastern college through answering an advertisement on a bulletin board at a major university in America. Then invited him to a drumming class. went to the drumming class and got thoroughly immersed into Santeria to the point that they are being initiated into Santeria right now in Cuba. So, just a warning of the danger. It comes through something very innocuous and very kind of innocuous but fascinating all at once, the drumming groups. So long.